All right, kids, welcome to Bingo is Life, the podcast. Episode number 7,000.
40. No, this is 40, I believe.
40.
I believe this is a big one. It's 40.
Live and in person from Harrisonburg, Virginia, home of America's sweetheart team, the undefeated James Madison University.
So sad.
Almost.
Rub it in.
Almost made it. The three-eyed pig with antlers. Going way back. I'm here. I'm Jay Zare, the...
You smell toast?
the disgraced crypto mogul formerly known as Jay Zare. We are joined by the fabulous Howdy Show brothers.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
The one and only Dan Easley. We've got Mum Shackles.
Yay.
Having a stressful Tuesday, which is really her Friday.
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
It's my Thursday. Tomorrow's my Friday.
And coming up in the silent Dave chair, we have an actual Dave.
That's right. We do have a
Dave.
Dave.
We'll get to
Coming
that,
up soon.
A surprise
Ooh.
guest. How'd bingo go tonight, kids?
It was very wild. So tonight is, I guess, all the public schools are done with the week, and everyone brought their children and put them right in front of us while we were doing the bingo show.
Did you say any bad words or anything?
No, we were very good.
No, they were crazy.
The kids were insane.
So I would ask the
Did they
kids.
say any bad words? Did they teach you any new ones?
I asked the kids. I said, everybody scream or say gobble gobble because it's Thanksgiving's
Yeah,
coming
that's
up.
right.
And the squealing screams was like ear piercing.
Oh my God!
And I was like, it was pretty intense.
It
But-
was very intense.
But let me say this. Also, amazing.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun.
Lively.
It was very lively.
I hear some kids still in the building.
Yeah,
we're inside. Go ahead.
Yeah, we're inside and we're trying something different tonight. We had to be inside because it's cold and rainy outside, and then the other place that we normally try to do this is not available. So we're actually doing it for the first time, like while everyone is here. I don't even know if we're going to
we're
be able
in
to
the
hear
middle
it.
of
In
the-
Ruby's Arcade, right?
Yes,
In
we're
Ruby's
actually
Arcade.
broadcasting from the bowling lanes. They are trying to roll the balls around us.
Yeah, we're dodging, moving back and forth.
It's,
Yeah.
pretty active.
Broadcasting might be a bit optimistic, but yeah.
Okay, narrow cast.
Yeah, casting.
So,
Speaking of which, we did have two people win the last game, so we had two different people try to roll for the $100.
Yeah.
Oh.
Neither of them won, but it was cool. They were sisters. That's probably the
That
first
is-
time
yeah, that
we've
is-
ever
yeah.
had siblings roll for a chance to win $100.
they roll at the same time?
No, they were rolled separately.
One at a time.
The
both
youngest-
very depressing.
Yeah, the youngest sister did eventually hit
Yeah.
a pin
A
and
pin.
won a prize.
What does this podcast have to do with bingo?
Well,
Says
you
the
know,
guy.
the name of the podcast is a post-bingo Harrisonburg podcast.
Hey,
there you
bingo.
go.
And we did reference the fact that JMU lost.
That's right.
That's big
Thank you,
Harrisonburg
Jay.
news. That's
Yeah.
the news. Of
Yeah.
the
You
day.
joined us last week. Instead of talking anything about the big game or the fact that Jonas Brothers or ESPN was coming
right.
into town, we just talked about us. And it was
Oh,
lovely.
well, that's what we do. There is one thing to talk about, though,
If you're
that's coming
listening
up
live.
tomorrow, right?
Grayson, take a note. Tell everybody.
Oh, yeah.
And anyone
Thank
else
you.
who's listening
Thank you,
live.
Grayson. He's our listener.
Yeah.
Hey,
we got-
Grayson.
we love you.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night. Tell us about tomorrow.
I listened to like half of these.
Okay, well, then this one's for you, Dan.
Tell us about tomorrow
I don't know
night.
about this one.
Friendly City.
I'm waiting for Dan to
Oh,
stop
I'm sorry, I'm done.
talking.
Go ahead. Yeah,
Let
no,
Dan have
please.
his time.
No, I've said it all.
Tomorrow
really.
night, the day before Thanksgiving, instead of going directly to Finnegan's Cove and drinking your brains out, come to Court Square Theater at 7:30 for Friendly City Fables, Dungeons and Dragons inspired improv.
Oh, God.
Oh, there it
could
is.
Could you go back in character, please?
Well, now I'm just confused, Dan.
Hey, I want to put in a plug for that, and I'm a jaded,
And you were there,
I was there the
You were
first
there?
time, right?
It was really good.
Yeah, cool.
It was very,
Dungeons
very,
and Dragons inspired improv.
it was very entertaining, and the crowd was really into it. There was at least 100 people there, people in costumes.
Oh, very cool.
That's fun.
Is that still a thing? Can like costumes? That's
Sure.
okay. That's
oh,
cool.
I would love it if people wore costumes.
Okay.
And so
Are you
would
gonna be
Hagrid.
there?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna
You
be
are.
there.
Okay.
I sent my costume back to Amazon.
Oh.
It's on the bus right now.
Oh, really? You sent it back? That's awesome.
Jay, just about anything you wear is probably considered a costume in some cultures.
That's steam coming out of my ears for you people.
That's what it is.
So we're going to bring in our special guest star, all the way from Broadway, Virginia, or thereabouts.
Really?
A historical local legend, Mr. Dave Scott.
Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard.
Thank you guys very much. Good to be here.
Yeah.
I really got to say the bingo thing tonight just blew my mind when I walked in the door.
First time?
First time. And I was
Okay.
like, what are these guys doing down
Yeah,
here?
right,
And I came in and there was like children shrieking at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
bingo has changed. It used to be like
yeah.
old ladies smoking cigarettes and like with 5 cards in front of them, like
Yeah.
telling you to just go away,
yeah.
stop
Now-
bothering me.
now-
Now it's 5-year-olds with cigarettes.
Yeah.
I do feel like we might have to bleep this, but it's totally worth saying.
Oh, okay,
Because we had a
that's
dad.
right. Yeah.
A dad came up to me with his bunch of his kids, and he goes, "We are going to bingo the out of this night." And I was like,
Wow.
I mean, he was so
Yeah,
excited.
And then they did.
And
Yeah,
they did.
and then boy, they did.
and
Wow.
they did, yeah.
Think how the fire departments would be if the ladies' auxiliary attacked the with that same level of zeal and ambition.
Now, Dave, you're from New Jersey. They have bingo up there, right? In
Oh,
the
yeah.
Catholic Church. Do you
Oh,
remember that
yeah.
from when you were a kid?
Well, we didn't participate. We did real gambling. My parents were like the kind of people who like didn't drink.
No,
They
you-
smoked. They were tobacco people, but they nothing
Sure,
else.
sure.
But they gambled like nuts.
I appreciate that you put bingo in the gambling category.
It's a gambling game.
Well, that's
I mean,
that's my understanding. It's a
you
gateway
know.
gambling drug.
Did you grow up with bingo,
I
Jay?
grew
In the
up
Methodist, in the Mennonite world?
In the Northeast, we were trying to save the pagans in Wilmington, Delaware, but
Right,
we would
yeah.
go to the Catholic they would have festivals, and you could go get beer when you were like 11 years old.
Okay, very good.
We grew up in Briar Branch,
that how you
and
got into
bingo was a
bingo?
part of our
Yeah, that's right. The DNA.
Yeah, I mean it was where when you would go out, if you went to the Briar Branch lawn party,
Yeah.
that was it. You were playing bingo.
Yeah, you put pieces of corn on the square.
Yeah.
and that's how you mark
and you
your
paid
card.
a quarter per card,
Yeah.
and they would come by and they would take all the quarters. Half would go into the kitty that you
Yeah.
would win, and the other half was for the fundraising.
And when I was like 6 years old playing that, I was like, yeah, I would win $1, and I'd be like, yes.
Yeah,
Got a row of
Big
corn.
time.
yeah. Oh, it was
Catholic bingo, you just use Eucharist wafers.
very good.
So if we're
At
going
least you don't have to bleed on it. I mean,
no, yeah.
we're going to be here in the present moment.
Yes.
Of the many things Dave could possibly talk to us about. You've been doing stand-up comedy along with me. We're starting at age 39.
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, 39. Yeah, I'm in my, I guess, second year of doing stand-up comedy, and am sort of almost kind of beginning to get the hang of it.
Right,
like,
right.
You're a natural.
How many shows would you say you've done, or how many performances have you tried at this point?
I've probably done somewhere 40, maybe. 30
Yeah.
or
Wow,
that's a
40, something like that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It might be more than that.
Are you on the Christmas show in December?
No. I'm too profane for the Christmas show. Not invited.
Unclean.
Yeah.
Beeping Christmas.
Yeah, exactly.
Scott.
Yeah.
No, the reason I ask about it is because I figured it was, up there. 40 is a lot of shows. But even at 40, and I've heard this over and over from people who do stand-up, like, I'm just now starting to figure it out. Like, I've done 40 shows. It sounds like a lot. Now I'm just starting to figure this out.
They say 100, but
Is that what it is?
That's what,
Yeah.
a lot. It's,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
there's so many things like just handling a microphone in front of people, holding that thing in your hands and
Right.
suddenly being conscious of the fact that I'm waving my arms around and that I do that when I talk and I have to, modulate that or no one can hear me,
Well, we should feel good here. Then this is our 40th episode.
Whoa.
So we're just now starting to figure it out.
Just coming around.
It's like, but you open for like guys who've been doing like Andy Beningo. None of you would know who that is, but I've opened
I
for.
do.
You know,
Yep.
I've opened for him twice. He
I will put a link in the notes.
he's got he's at another level. He gets the crowd like a rolling laughter where you're just
Right.
like he's working it. And I don't think he even. I talked to him about it. I don't think he even consciously knows what he's doing. I mean, he's doing it, but
Right.
But it takes a while.
So are you comfortable in front of the crowd? Or are you still
I
anxious?
am. No. That's one of the things actually that I don't have is I don't have any sense of stage fright at all.
Oh, wow.
And so that was something I had to overcome because it turned out I would, like videotape myself to just try to learn, like, stop waving your arms around, dumbass. And you don't know that until you see it. And one of the things I realized...
I just want to say that you were waving one arm
I
around.
had to do
just
it.
as you
Yeah,
said
yeah,
that. Just now. Not to derail you.
I'll segue into being a high school teacher and waving my arms around here eventually.
Okay.
But this idea of, being up there, being self-conscious, waving my arms around, and just recently realizing that one of the things that happens to me as I would approach the mic is my blood pressure would actually drop.
Whoa.
And rather than get up there and be all hyped up, and I'd watch all these people go up there and be hot, and I'd be up there and I'd be like, so, wow,
Too
feel
calm.
pretty good up here. This is nice. Good to see you guys. Just suck all of the energy right out of the thing, like a psychic vampire.
Very good.
And so I watched one thing. Actually, what it was in Charlottesville, there's a show every week, every Monday night at the Southern Cafe, and I went up after the guy who runs it, the pro who runs it, Chris Allen, who is smoking hot, funny, just tearing up the crowd. And he went up there, and the room was lit up, and I went up there like, so guys, how's everybody tonight? And then I could even feel it happening, like, I just killed this thing myself. One man spiked this show.
Did he hype you up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he was like, oh, here you go. He's Dave Scott. And I was like, hello. I'm here.
Has they figured out which one of us is Dave? Which one is Jay?
Yeah, because I called him out after he called me Jay like the third time. He finally tracked it.
It really puts you in your place, doesn't it? When you're like, and here is Dave. Like, no.
Another old white guy from Harrisonburg.
Yeah. He's just throwing me in the pile. That's all right.
Do you have some intentional trick to like how do you get around that?
Well, I made a big note in my book where I writing, all my jokes and stuff and working. And the day that it struck me,
A
I
list
was like,
of people to put in their place.
no, that's my other book.
Oh, a different book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a separate book. Was to actually, I just wrote a note like, come in hot. Like I watched
Okay.
one of these videos and I just saw myself just go do it. And I just realized what it was.
Yeah.
What had just happened there 2 weeks later after it had happened, and wrote a note like, come in hot. And the next time I went up, I just looked back at that and went up and, tried to, instead
do you write notes like on every show, or do you
Yeah.
try to keep it? Yeah, I've heard that Steve Martin was pretty big on that. Would write notes after every show. He'd listen to what he recorded and then write notes on what was getting the laughs. For him, it was a science.
Yeah.
It was, it was just a matter of
he's a
figuring
guy
out-
who doesn't even tell jokes,
Yeah,
right? I mean, his
right.
whole thing is performance
Right,
art. So
right,
he's
right.
not even, it's all delivery. It's
Right.
all the look. And,
Yeah.
I
It's all
could do-
delivery, no DiGiorno.
Yeah.
The thing,
one.
Yeah.
The delay.
It's all about the delay. Wait for it. There it is.
Boy, we got that joke. So there is a stand-up renaissance, in my opinion, happening right now in this
agree.
area. I mean, I felt like it was I never heard anything about it, and then maybe 2 years ago, right coming right after out of COVID, it felt like, oh, someone's doing a stand-up thing here in Harrisonburg. Now, almost weekly, there is a stand-up thing happening somewhere, and there's the I guess the X2.
X2 is pretty much Dawn Womack, and the Womacks probably have driven the
comedy
stand-up
scene here.
Comedy scene here.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but there is a non.
But that's not how
Clean
I got
comedy.
there.
Yeah,
I did
there's
not
no-
get there through
Yeah,
Yeah,
X2.
the
the
brother-
open mics have really
Yeah.
proliferated. I have a theory behind why they're
Yeah, tell us
The
why.
theory.
It's because it's cheaper than therapy.
Ah.
So you just get up
What,
and
to-
crowd
to
surf.
be
That's
a
where I
part-
take my trauma.
Yeah, exactly. You just tap
childhood
into your
trauma,
trauma, and
I'm
you're
just
like,
taking
guess
it-
what kind of horrible things happened to me this week?
Taking it to the mic. Oh, I know. I'm back to like, I'm actually doing jokes about my birth. I'm working my way.
Dave's really healing.
I'm only 61, so I have a lot of ground to cover.
You have that great joke about how they picked your name out of the Bible. They didn't have one,
Which is true. I mean, it's not even like a joke. My parents, I mean, they really were in denial. I'm the sixth of 9 kids.
He's
And a
Catholic.
second son, you
The
know,
rhythm-
yeah.
The rhythm method was not working.
Yeah, no. And I think I was the kid where my parents realized they were outnumbered and overwhelmed, and they had just kind of surrendered for a while there and like pretended they weren't going to have this kid. I think in the car on the way to the hospital, my mom was like, "It's just gas." My dad's like, "Yeah, just hold it, honey. It's going to be fine." And they really had not even ever 9 months in the oven. They'd never discussed a name, nothing. And Dad, when presented with the blank registration form, you're not allowed to take the child out of the hospital without giving us a name. And he grabbed the nearest book, which was the Bible, and flipped through it until he came up with 2 names they could agree with.
Is he the Goliath?
It could have been, Udekakaya. And so at least, we kind of zeroed in and got a couple of names that they were able to pronounce. I mean, imagine if they'd gotten like TV Guide.
or a Dr. Seuss book.
Ricky Ricardo Scott, it was 1962. It could have been Haas Cartwright Scott. But so I guess I'm grateful for the Bible on that.
I guess I'm grateful.
Nice reference.
But yeah.
Do you feel traumatized?
Not by that.
You seem so.
I'm fraught with trauma, Jay.
What I envy about you is talking about like not having any stage fright. You just don't give a. I'm not allowed to say that word. You just don't give a hoot about what people think.
I truly, yeah. Well,
Or
there's a point in life where you discover that there's actually people who don't like you.
Right, oh, sure.
And when I crossed that line, I was like, what? Oh, that makes so much more sense now. That puts so many other parts of my life in perspective. And then you just have to kind of live with that. And so I've been living with that since I was like 15.
So how long have you been teaching? Were you teaching school before you retired?
I taught for 17 years.
Wow.
So
I feel like
a pretty good long stretch.
I never
What-
witnessed you as a teacher, but I feel like that teaching high school students was a very good preparation for
It's much the
stand-up.
same.
Yeah.
With just fewer rules.
They will
less
eat you
law,
alive. It's true.
Fewer laws.
What did you teach? What was
I taught high school English. And came by it naturally. I'm like a born reader. It's kind of one of the only things I was ever actually good at as a little kid. Is like, oh, you're the best reader in the class.
Thanks, they got my name from a book.
Yeah. But and in the math class, I was like the kid at the back, just struggling with addition while everyone else was discovering that there were letters in their math problems.
Whereas your parents were really good at multiplication.
Where's the drum? That's the thing.
He has no clue.
You'll just have
In there
to.
somewhere.
And now I think it's interesting the name thing.
That's the right one. Yeah,
I'm fairly confident
Labeled
that
that
I was
thing.
told that Mike was the most popular name in that year that he was born, and Christopher was like the most popular. Like that's kind of was that how they picked
How
our
we
names?
got our names?
Yeah, it was like
My understanding is my mother told me I always wanted a little boy named Michael, and there was me.
Wow.
And then
That
something
is
happened
special.
and Chris was born, but whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
I'm the second son. You're first son, second
yeah,
son.
first
Is that
son,
what the
yeah,
deal here?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
the dynamic. Yeah, they went right to junior.
Or, yeah. Right.
They'd had 4 daughters in a row. Then they had junior. And that's like any sensible family would have stopped right there. That is it. And then I'm the second son and like Irish twin, like popped right out a year later. And they were just like, oh no. And then they got back on track after that. They named everybody else has a name that makes sense.
Now, is it true you're also an author as well, right?
I am an author. Yeah,
Yes, all right.
I've written a few books. I've written actually 8 complete novels.
Eight novels.
A novelist,
Where do
I
we
believe.
find any of them? Where would
They're
you?
all at my house. Because you know what? It turns out that there's like
They're not novels, they're manifestos.
there are. Yeah, you'll see them published next to my obituary. It turns out that writing of a book is the easy part. I can write a book. I can't publish a book. I mean, I could. I could do the go wide. You can self-publish on the internet across a whole spectrum of platforms. But that's like a job unto itself.
Right,
And I
right.
suck at jobs. I was never cut out for work. I was cut out for retirement.
That'll put you to the front in an interview.
Yeah.
I really suck at jobs.
I know, yeah. I did tell a guy once, I'm in food service, he said, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And I said, doing your job. And he was like, oh, what a funny answer. And then it was like 9 months later, I was doing that guy's job.
Nice.
I was going to say 3 months later.
I
you
made
were
it
doing
9
that.
months. Well, he actually smoked a lot of meth and then ran away.
Food service.
That checks out.
Yeah, right.
How long does it take to take you to write a novel?
3 months.
3 months? Whoa.
I'm right now. All right. Yeah.
You cranking one out right now,
I am
bud?
actually cranking one out, and I hit a high water mark today, so I will talk about this.
Is that because of the rain?
No, I stayed inside.
You are on
and wrote.
fire.
For our listeners, it's raining today.
Finally.
Today I hit the 30,000 word mark. Your basic novel is about 90,000 words, and so today I hit the 30,000 word mark, which has put me over 100 pages and a third of the way, like finish the first third.
What's the genre?
Yeah, what genre are we talking
I'm writing a detective novel, and this is the third one with this detective. It's actually a female detective, and so it's where I explore all of my female side. If my female side was like Bruce Willis in a sports bra, you know what I mean? Like, like I just don't know.
Sherlock Holmes.
I just don't know how feminine my feminine perspective is.
okay.
But I do love this character. I love her. I think like her, and am stunned as she, wreaks havoc. And,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Dave really connects with a barefoot woman in ductwork.
What's her name? What's the name of the character?
Her name is Shenandoah Barbett.
Whoa. Do you know what? Did you start writing before there were word processors?
I used to write with a typewriter. I am that old. All right, here's it. I am old
that
enough.
old to ask that question. Graphite, are you familiar with this?
How do you sharpen your quills?
Yeah.
I prefer turkey feathers. You?
We were rubbing sticks together for heat.
Who? How many? So who has Jen read them?
Yeah. People have read some of them. COVID was kind of an interesting time for writing because I was locked in my house and I retired. I turned in my retirement papers to the school just coincidentally like a month before COVID. So I was already planning my exit, and then they just told me to go home one day, and then I never went back to work. I went back to a totally empty school and emptied out file cabinets full of my career and just threw it in a dumpster just with a clanging echo.
Wow.
Nobody in sight. No high five at the door, nothing. And then I went home and was like, well, now what? What am I going to do every day? And I had an idea for a book, so I wrote I had a first sentence of a book and wrote that one. And as I finished that book, 3 months later, I was like, oh, I know what the next book is about. As this went in, I wrote a trilogy of science fiction. I don't even read science fiction. I don't know. Of traveling through dark matter.
Oh.
Crazy, right? Yeah, I don't know anything about dark matter either, but there you go. I think what I learned was
That's the great thing about being an author. You don't have to know anything.
It turns out nobody knows.
Just look stuff
I read
up
like
and-
20 different articles, and I was like, none of these people know what they're talking about. I think I'm on solid ground by just winging it here.
Right.
So
It doesn't matter.
You're writing a detective novel right now.
But now I am,
Do you know the mystery? Like, have you solved the mystery, or does
Of
the
this
mystery
one, yes.
get
Very
solved
good question.
as you write it?
Yes, this one I
Okay.
know. The last one with this character, I did not know.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I've written 8 books. The first book I wrote was like I like gave birth to. It was the book that I had in my head for 20 years.
Nice.
And wrote like in a fever dream of like 6,000 words a day. I would write until I passed out.
Right.
And then
Sounds healthy.
yeah, it's terrible. I learned a lot. Like
Retired.
it turns out this is when I was working.
Oh, okay.
So I had to write it during summer break. So I had like 8 weeks to write a book, and so I did, which was not recommended. But and that one I planned out. I mapped it out. Last sentence first. I knew exactly, where I was going with that one. And then the next one I was like, that just seemed like kind of not that cool. The next one I just winged it, and it turned out I could find the end, and things happened that were like insane to me, like me crying as a character dies. I didn't know. I love this. He's dying today. I didn't know that. I wouldn't have done this if I'd known this guy was going to die today. I mean, just like living and breathing in the world with the characters.
That's very cool.
And so I've kind of adopted that attitude now that I'm just going to kind of wing it. But it turns out with the mystery, it is a lot more work to go back and fix all the stuff.
Right.
If you discover the end, then you're setting it up as you go. I still have to do that. And I got to go back and plant that idea earlier.
Right.
But it's a lot easier to get to the end if I know the...
This is blowing my mind.
Do you have a routine?
Right?
Yeah, no, it's
Like,
cool.
do you wake up and you have, your prescribed breakfast, and then you lock yourself in a room for 4 hours, or is it just catch as catch can? With
No.
pardon, sorry, special on aisle 7.
Hey, there we
Up
go.
on aisle 12.
They're getting ready to close, I guess.
Red zone is
Last
for
call.
loading and unloading.
Oh, last
only.
go. Yeah.
Sorry about that.
No, that's all right. My routine is actually really loose.
Okay.
I get up and I'm a retired guy, so I drink coffee and read the paper for 2 hours
Yeah.
because I can, and then I do write after that and it's usually like just 2 hours. I write 1,000 words. When I get 1,000 words, I'm done.
Okay.
1,000 words a day.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's, some days I'm wordy as hell, so I do write 1,500 words or more. Today I wrote 2,000 words
Yeah.
because I was in a fight scene and my girl was whopping some people and I was
Yeah.
really just digging it. I was into the whole thing. So I was like, I don't
See, you make writing sound fun.
It's fun, man.
I can't have fun when I write.
It's super fun.
It's too hard.
It's super fun.
I like having written. Like when it's done, I'm like, whew, okay, it's done.
I don't
But,
like any of the other parts. I don't like editing.
Yeah, right.
I suck at editing. And I don't like trying to engage in the business part of it, of like trying to find an agent or sending things off to publishers or writing a query letter or
Right.
all the rest of those things.
Yeah.
That stuff is like a job.
Yeah,
to
right.
me. And
So do you think people will just find your?
I'm hoping somebody comes to my house and,
Yeah.
and cracks open my MacBook and goes, "Dang, look at this guy! This guy's
you know
really
what?
knocking it out of the park."
I will put some links in the notes as long as I can find them somewhere.
Isn't November novel reading month?
NaNoWriMo.
And people,
Yeah.
And you're also not supposed to shave, right?
I have
There's all
not
kinds of
shaved.
things but
very
I'm supposed to do in November.
Man, November's
I,
rough.
I haven't shaved, but it's because I lost my safety razor. So
Ooh,
I might be no shave December and January as well. But so people they're writing more than 1,000 words a day to get
Yeah.
a novel done
To do that, yeah. I mean, it's not like a contract or anything, but the suggested thing is you get to 50,000 words in 30 days of November.
Wow.
Yeah.
So if
They
you're
have,
going to
like-
commit to that,
They have like a support system in
Yeah.
a way too. Like you can share your pages or
Oh,
like,
yeah.
get all sorts of kudos for
yeah,
however many words.
and people
write.
tell you all
Yeah.
the time, don't worry about it. As long as you're writing, it's fine. You don't need to get to 50,000.
Do you workshop with people at all, or like or provide guidance to people that are like, hey, I'm looking to write?
I've not really had that opportunity.
Yeah.
So much. I mean,
It sounds like you would be a good resource.
I was a good writing teacher.
Yeah, right.
I'll say that as a
Cool.
educator. One of the things that I was good at was reading people's work and saying, what is all of this about?
Right,
Like,
right.
I've just read 4 pages and have no idea what you're talking about here.
Yeah, right.
or telling them when it's good.
It's funny because I was a writing teacher too, but I taught 6th graders. So they were like 11 and 12 years old, and
Subject verb.
writing is a little different than.
Article.
Yeah. It's actually not. It's not that much different at
Yeah.
the 11th grade level.
right.
AP students are still
right.
like, what do you mean the subject?
Absolutely. Right.
well, I knew that we have to wrap it up.
Yeah, we do. But
Um,
that was it.
But that was all. I just thank you for
Well, thanks
coming
to you
here.
guys for
Yeah,
having me down.
absolutely.
Sorry about this
We
stuff.
didn't even get to talk about the Grateful Dead.
No, we didn't even talk about music.
Well, you've
I
got
wrote a
music.
song.
You're going to have to come back. We're going to. Yeah.
Well, yeah, we'll have you again.
Oh, part 2.
Yeah, we can have you again.
I'll let it flow.
When's the next Brothers open mic?
Oh yeah.
December.
December.
Oh, yeah.
December-ish.
Isn't it like the third Thursday of the month?
Third.
Or
Might
they
be.
But
changed
not in December
Not
because
in
that
the
gets
holidays.
to Christmas
But anyway,
time. So
keep your eyes open for the Brothers open mic stand-up comedy. Dave will probably be there.
I will probably
just-
be there.
I just remembered Brothers has another thing happening that I'm supposed to mention this evening. So December 1st, Woodland Montessori School is having a fundraiser for scholarships
Oh, yes.
at Brothers. It's free to go to,
Free.
but they're it's a fundraiser, so they've got a bunch of things you get. It's like a silent auction. You kind of vote where you try to win.
Will you just point at stuff?
You point at stuff, yeah. I want it. And anyways, me and Mike will be playing music there. So
Nice.
it's so we'll be there December 1st, and it's like it's
Well,
free to come to.
it's the band. It's not just me and you. Right?
yeah, the whole bunch of
I
it.
need to know these things.
No, just me and you, man. Oh, great. Is that cool? Sure. Anyways, December 1st. Love to see you there at Brothers.
Awesome.
Hey,
All right.
happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
people out
Thanksgiving.
there.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap it up. The music will be playing in the background.
Yeah, of course.
Right now, we will
Absolutely.
be hearing it.
Yes, there it
Fading
is.
in. That does it for Bingo is Life, the podcast. Thanks so much for Dave Scott.
Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me.
Author,
This was great.
musician. writer, stand-up comedian. We'll see you again next week, 7:30 for Bingo is Life, live and in person at Ruby's Arcade in the historic Wine Brothers building in downtown Harrisonburg. And the podcast, whenever you want to listen to it, all 40 episodes.
All 40.
Yeah.
We did it.
Congrats,
40.
folks.
Congrats.
See you next week, kids.
Bingo is Life, a post-bingo Harrisonburg podcast, is brought to you by the Brothers How to Show and our friends at Ruby's Arcade in downtown Harrisonburg, Virginia. If you've enjoyed the show and feel it's worth spreading a little joy in this world, please tell just one person that you like this podcast. Word of mouth, more than any other form of promotion, is how creative works get noticed and sustain themselves. Thank you, Andrew Hickey, for that bit of wisdom, and thank you, listeners, for being part of the fun.